Strap in for a roller coaster ride where curiosity, humor, laughter, and the odd case of wisdom is applied to understanding the adventure of life.
Welcome to the Rawle Gene Show, the power of coaching, guided by two knuckleheads who invite you to sit in the front car with them on this ride.
Trust us, it's not as serious as it sounds.
And high fives are included. Hey everybody, how are we doing today? Did you like my little treat for you, Rawle?
I love the treat. I love the the imagery that was interjected into the opening.
And I was able to fix the you with the big eyes wide open too. So
it's not so much the big eyes as the glare from the screen on the big eyes. It's like, trust me, it's not that serious. I'm telling you, we need to just leave it now. Every time we come on air, we're laughing because of it. But I was laughing too because of the infusion of the clips that you put in, which was really cool. So,
well, I'm trying my hand at editing, so I do a little bit of everything around here, doing the dance of fun. So,
actually, that's what I'm going to do this weekend. Is I'm going to play with iMovie. That's how I do my video editing. So I need to learn how to be able to, clip out stuff. Yeah. Or maybe that new tool where you make our shorts, you can teach me how to use that, and I'll put my stuff through that because it seems quite easy for you. So,
oh yeah. So here's a little hint for anybody that's watching right now. We use the tool called Descript. This is no sponsorship ad, but maybe we should ask for one. We should ask for one. Descript is an incredible tool if you're getting into video editing and really trying to do all kinds of stuff. Instead of being on the timeline, Descript transcribes everything and you edit the words out. And so you're editing like a Word document, pulling things out, and they've got some great things. If you listen to our podcast, you're going to hear it smooths out our audio quality as well. So on the live, it can like dip and dive as we get quiet or closer to the mic, depending if we're away, but it cleans all that up. So definitely go check out the Rawle Gene Show on your latest podcast, because episode 3 just launched today, or no, on Wednesday. So it's up there. Go hit subscribe, follow, play, and definitely hit the like and subscribe wherever you're watching. Hopefully this is on YouTube or Facebook. Hit that like, share us.
Or LinkedIn.
Or LinkedIn. You get to have a little bit more of Rawle and Gene, and that's a pretty good thing in your life.
Yeah. So,
Rawle, how are you, brother?
I'm good, man. Like I said earlier, I'm present. I'm slow by design. I did what I had to do this morning and decided, you know what? It's Friday. It's nice out. I've been hanging out in the front yard in my bare feet, just feeling the earth underneath. And yeah, I'm good. I'm just being really present and just being. How about you? How you doing?
I feel the same, man. Start today with a great workout. I do my cardio days with my VR headset and an app called Supernatural. It's an incredible workout. So it's a good way to pace myself instead of just hitting the gym every day. Do a little bit something different. But it's a good way to start. If I don't start with exercise now, I find it's actually really hard to be in action. Part of our topic today is being the verb and not just the noun.
Nice segue.
I see how we did that there. Or it's almost like getting good at this. And why is it important to be in action? It's because how we view it is setting your goals is great, and it's highly important to know where you're going to aim so that you're not just running around aimlessly. Mm-hmm. But intention not matched with action is a recipe for failure, is a recipe for going, why am I not getting what I want? Well, it doesn't just manifest. You actually have to put the reps in and go for it.
Yeah, it's just a nice thought, So a few years back, there was a book I think came out, The Power of Intention, and intention is great. Intention, goal, dreams, all the same. Even regret, they're all nice thoughts, but until you put actions to them, they really mean nothing, and they'll just cause you more. I don't know, I'll use the word suffering. They'll just cause you suffering because, it'd be like if I said something or did something that somehow injured you, And then hey, Gene, my intention was to apologize. And then I just continued on and never apologized.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my intentions might be good, might be honorable, but until I actually apologize, it means nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And if
100%.
anything, it'll make you feel more injured than what you originally did, because it's like, what? Okay, great. You were going to apologize. When are you going to apologize? Right. So, to
Well,
me, yeah.
one thing to add onto that is like we've spoken about this before is how we view actions as like the vehicle, the carrier for the intention. If you
Hmm.
don't actually back the truck up of action, load your intention into it, and take it off where it's meant to go, it never reaches its destination. It's a
It just sits on
waste.
the dock.
It
It
just
just sits
sits
on the dock.
and rots, right?
Yeah.
Like an intention, a goal, and a dream will rot if you do not put the action to it.
Well, and being in, not taking action is action as well. It's still a choice, and it's up to you.
Mhm.
All things, when I was being trained in the 7 habits, all things are created twice. There's a spiritual in the ether, the thoughts, right? And it's not the thoughts that come in, it's the thoughts that you actually give mental energies to thinking about what you want, what your dreams, what your goals, whatever it is that you are. And that's a powerful tool, because visualization, imagination is a powerful tool.
Mm.
But if it only just stays in here, then all it will do, like I said, will eventually just cause you the thing that that nice thought will then eventually become not a nice thought, because then it's like, why is nothing happening? Well, because you're not doing anything,
Yeah.
right? That's one part of doing. You have to use your imagination, visualize, create a visualization of what you want and seeing how it will come about. But then you have to come back here and go, okay, I've seen it, but what do I actually have to do to make that happen? So action is just as powerful. So, a lot of people think, well, intention is the most important thing. No, it's not actually. No.
It's a
Of the
two piece.
two, of the two, action is most important, because without the action, the intention does not come to life. It comes to life
This
spiritually, it comes to life in your imagination. But in the real world, in the world that we live in, if you don't do things, nothing gets done. So,
I what I hear as well with that, Rawl, the thought comes up is like as you're talking about seeing this in this virtual in the spiritual world, really thinking about your dreams and your goals and what you truly want. And then if you're not taking action, there's a part of you going, "You're lying to me.
yeah.
Why are you lying to me
What do you
about this
like?
dream? You're saying you want this, you're not doing anything about it." And that's where that friction starts to come in, going, like,
Mhm.
why is this dream now making me frustrated and taking away from me versus actually being something that I'm putting my steps in towards and moving
Yeah.
towards? It's like, are you thinking about this too much, not doing the thing? And then there's something within all of us going, you're lying. Like, if
Yeah.
you wanted this, it's like breaks it back down to if you wanted it, you would. So
And sometimes
what's the disconnect?
and
And then
sometimes we don't take action because we've taken action before and it didn't yield the results that we wanted. Well, that's part of it. You're it's not always going to come out the way you think it's going
mm,
to come out, but it will happen. And even if you fail, you're not really failing, because that failure, you'll learn from it. You'll learn whether your idea is a good idea. You'll learn whether your your plan was a good plan. Uh, with your objectives and your goals and your actionable items, what you have to do. So you get an opportunity to go back and go, okay, why didn't this work? Why didn't this yield the results that I want? Maybe my expectations were unrealistic. So it gives you an opportunity to look and
yeah,
to dissect. And when you ask me how am I, I'm present. And it's only in the moment, in the moment, being present, where you have full access to all your skills and tools. And even if you step into the past or into the future, you're still present, because you can only do those two things by being in the moment. So, it's about taking action, and then not reevaluate, but evaluating the actions taken and what was yield from that action. And if you like what you got, you do it again. If you don't, you look at it and go, okay, it's still a good idea. I still believe in the idea. Now let's look at how it was implemented. Well, before I look at how it was implemented, did we have the right plan? Right. But it's an opportunity for you to dissect and to go, okay, this didn't work well, but look at what I've learned from it. And then you adjust, you retool, you re-energize yourself, and then you keep pushing forward. So ultimately, you know, the intent is great, but how badly do you want the intent will determine on the actions that you take. And if you really don't want it that badly, your actions will be very limited, and then it will produce those results. And then you'll end up fulfilling your own prophecy, right? It's up to you. So you could choose to be inactive, or you can choose to be active towards what you say you want. Either way, it's up to you.
Ooh, the choice is yours on what you're going to do, right?
It always
And
is. It always
if we
is.
tie this back to like be the noun, or sorry, be the
Be the
verb, and
noun.
not
Be
just the
the
noun.
noun. Yeah.
It's like, well, I kind of hear our topic around this is like a little bit about sorry, I believe success is an easy one to kind of dive into. It's like, are you being successful? But to be successful, you actually have to do success stuff.
Yeah.
You have to do the stuff that's going to get to that. And to understand, pull it back to getting really clear on where you want to go, you got to define what being successful means. And it can mean something different to everybody. And
Yeah.
that's perfectly all right too. It is personalized. Each one of those nouns you can personalize for yourself and what that means to you. And then figuring out what those actions are that you're going to take to fulfill on that, to feel it, to become and
Mhm.
experience that.
Yeah.
It's like
And
how I start with like the top of the show is like exercising. Like one of my goals is I want to have a dance party and dance on the table when I'm 100. To do that, I actually have to keep active now. I
I'll
have
come
to
back and
build my
visit.
body. The
I'll
spirit
come
of
back. And
Rawle. Hot
I won't be here for that, but I'll definitely pop in and visit that one. From the spiritual realm, I'll be like, come on, G, do it, baby, do it.
Right. And if I get to 100 or not, I still want to know that I've put in the things to allow me for that day when I get there. So I'm not regretting it going, "Oh, I wish I would have kept fit when I was younger." I'm investing now. And it's
Yeah.
actually a funny little goal. It makes me smile. And it also helps get my ass moving.
Well, it's like what we're doing right now. You know, Peel Back is about building community and helping individuals or helping organizations or groups or whatever to maximize their own potential. That's the long and short of it. So ultimately, I invite people, let's peel back the layers to let your light shine, kind of thing.
Yes.
I'm pushing that tagline. He's still not buying it 100. But ultimately, Gina and I were talking about this in one of our last production meetings, and we talked about building community. We keep saying that. Well, building a community takes heavy lifting, takes work, which I've taken on because I like building community. It's not that Gene doesn't, but we all have our strengths. So, I've made a point of helping to build a Peel Back community, both on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, or wherever. It's about inviting people to be a part of what we're doing because they see value in it. Well, they can only see value in it if we're putting it out there and inviting them and reaching out to them and touching them and wanting to have conversations with them. Yeah, ultimately, we want clients. Yes, we want clients individually. We want to do work, organizational groups, whatever it is. But to get to that point, you do have to build a community and position value. And that's a great intent, but without doing the heavy lifting, it will just stay stagnant and nothing will
Yeah.
ever happen. So it's important. If you say this is important to you, you have to follow it up with action. Make intention a verb as well, knowing that you have to deliver on it. You have to take action. You have to roll up your sleeves and sweat and do the work. It's like going. I always use coaching football. When coaching football, your son plays football as well. You know, I always look at practice as a great. That's in the intention. We're practicing what we would like to see happen during game day,
Yeah.
but we don't just leave it on the practice field. We now have to take what we have done, the training, and all the hard work we've put in, and bring it onto the field of battle, and trust your training, trust what you've practiced, but by putting it into action, by running the plays the way you've been taught to do so. It's no different in the business world, right? So, your practice field is the boardroom, or your, in our case, when we get on Zoom or team meetings, whatever
Yeah.
app we're using to connect. And our practice field is when we sit and we dissect and we come up with plans and so forth. But then the game day is us actually now going out into the market through these technologies that we used to actually build community and to put value and to say, hey, what do you think of this? Do you like this? Blah blah blah. I think a lot of times people struggle with that because they see it as hard work, and it is at times a hard work. But I invite people,
Yeah.
find a joy in the work because it's what you say you want to do. I'm not talking about if you're working for someone else and you're in a job you really don't like. Even that, I invite you to find the joy in what you're doing, because number one, you don't have to do it for the rest of your life. And even if you don't like it, it yields more than just the monies you're getting. There's things that you're learning that you would not get if you didn't were in that situation. But let's just bring it back into, if you're building a business, you can't just leave it on the drawing board. You have to bring it physical and get dirty and roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty. And, otherwise it will frustrate you. So, that's why I always, I use sports a lot as an analogy, because sports is just a reflection of life. We don't win a provincial by just wishing it.
No. Well, you
Right?
don't win any of it by just wishing for it,
Yeah.
right? You have to put it onto the field. And one thing to stack onto if you're doing something and it's hard, you're like, "Ah, it's still pointing me in the right direction. Is it
Mhm.
enabling the things that you enjoy?"
Yeah.
Right? Like a job that you might not be the most it might not be your passion thing, but because of it, is it allowing you to do the passion thing?
Yeah.
Are you sitting with it going, I hate my job, and you've got all this other opportunities in your life that you're shading with this hate for this job, versus looking at going, I go do my job and it allows me to do X, Y, and Z, or allows me to provide, allows me to do this stuff. Like, what is it unlocking for you? Because on the path to getting what you want, to get your intentions, there's going to be a lot of things that you have to do that you're like, I don't really like doing this. Can you find the right mix? Can you make it
Mhm.
like 50-50 of like the stuff that you love, knowing that there's grind work? And is there a component of that that you can delegate out? If you're a business owner, books. I don't like doing my books. That's why I hired an incredible bookkeeper. Thank you, Christy. You're incredible, right? Same thing with accounting. But we love doing our podcast. So we keep doing that because it's
Yeah.
the thing we love. But there are parts of getting to where we want to go that that feel dirty, and that they're hard and not enjoyable, but they also unlock the ability for us to do the podcast, to do our
Yes. Exactly.
one-on-ones, to build our group coaching. It's important to realize that it's not just about the nice, clean, fun stuff all the time.
Yeah.
If you want something that you don't have, you're gonna have to put in some sweat equity,
Yeah.
and sometimes it sucks, and that's okay too.
A lot of
Embrace the
times it
suck.
sucks. But it all depends on how you look at suck. To your point, a lot of you're seeing facets of these younger generations struggling with this. Well, why does it have to be hard work? Well, hard is just a descriptive word for the work. It really depends on how you choose to look at it. All I know is you're going to have to put work into it. It could be hard, it could be medium, it could be easy, it could be joyous. I don't care what what adverb you add to describe work. You're still going to have to do work. and that is consistent. That's in nature. The worms don't just jump up and go, hey, come and get me. The birds have to work for it. So somewhere along the line, and maybe because of technology and convenience of life, people don't want to value work anymore, particularly hard work. And I always remind my son, when he's struggling sometimes with life, like we all do, how did we win that provincial? And he'll always go, we worked hard.
Yeah.
And I go, when you were working hard, did you like it? He goes, for the most part, yeah. But he goes, a lot of times it sucked.
Mm.
But he goes, it's the sucky work that actually made us who we are.
Yeah.
So, it depends on how you want to look at things. But ultimately, are you worthy of your intentions?
Mm.
Are
Well, I
you
think that
worthy of your intentions? And then are you worthy to take your intentions out of the ether and bring it into the physical world by doing the work that's needed for it?
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's up to you. If you're not worthy, you will not do the work. Or if not me saying you're not worthy, if you don't believe you're worthy, you won't do the work. Or if you do the work, you'll do it begrudgingly. You'll do it with a chip on your shoulder. And sometimes that helps you. But I invite you to find the joy, even when it sucks, because there's a lot of things that Gina and I have to do that I don't really want to do anymore. I did it back in my corporate days, but I can't sit here and tell him I'm committed and I'm with you, and then I'm not willing to do what's necessary. Because why? I don't want to lie to myself. I don't want to, it's not a lie to him. I don't want to lie to myself. I am worthy of what we're looking to do, because why? We both thought of it. We both liked the idea. We put some structure around it. And now we're in the action stage. Now we're in the verb stage. Now we're doing.
Yeah.
So, for me, I'm enjoying what we're doing.
Oh, likewise. And there's also been some great learnings we've learned along the way. Like, this is episode 20. We are, like, you think about it, like what we were talking about, I think the stat is something ridiculous. Like, most podcasts don't get beyond like episode 4 to 10. Like, that's where they go to die. We're like in the top 10% of all podcasts out there. That's incredible, right? Like that alone took us getting to it. And we started with this idea originally of like this me I don't see, building these workshops, doing all this stuff. But we had to go try it and be like, did we like it? Yeah. What parts of this did we want to keep going? How do we actually want to integrate it? Because if we didn't go do the things, and we actually never launched that program because we chose not to. We got to a state when this actually doesn't align fully to what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
We're going to take the pieces that we liked. We've still got our tool, the assessment, which is a great piece that we use within our coaching. We'll be using in our group work as well. We're like, hey, masterminds is like where we want to play. And the podcast, and Rawle as well, is like really loves doing workshops. So we're supporting that as well. Like all these pieces, we wouldn't have figured out how the puzzle comes together. And it actually helped us realign and refine what puzzle we're actually trying to build too. And I think that's just important when we pulled back and went, what are we trying to accomplish here?
And this is one of the reasons, we've said a number of times, the things that we talked about early in the summer, they're going to come to pass. But, involving ourselves and maybe not involving ourselves to a certain degree has yielded so much opportunities for us to learn and for us to realize, why are we not fully involving ourselves? Well, we are involving ourselves, but we were trying to reinvent a wheel as opposed to trust what we know, trust what has been proven. Not that you shouldn't improve on things. But because of that process of the me I don't see it, like I said, to me, if all we got from that was the assessment tool, it was worth it. But that was just one caveat of what we got.
Yeah.
So, I'm really stoked for the fall, because, when I put back on my old recruiter set when I was a recruiter, September to December was haymaking time. It's go time.
Same thing when I was in agency land running Cheeky Monkey and all these other places that I consulted in back in my tech days. Is like September to December was go time. It was like all of a sudden everybody showed up and went, Oh yeah, all those projects we could have been like moving along in the summer and we didn't. We
Yeah,
still need them done by December.
yeah.
What can we do? Be like,
And we
we
do
got you.
exactly.
Boom, boom. Let's go.
I mean, you have coming out of the holidays, so January, mid-January, end of January till I would say the end of May is another go time, but the key one was always
It's always
September to
September, like
December. That's where you
the
make your serious hay, and so so I've kind of stepped back into that mindset. So I'm really excited. Come Tuesday, it's go time. We've been going the last few weeks, but now 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 we get to really put the verb into 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 the stratosphere of the hard work, and I'm really looking forward to embrace that hard work. Why? Because it's something that comes from what it is that I really want to do, what we really want to do. That intention is good, it's honorable, but now we know that intention needs to come to the ground. Take it out of the 35,000 feet level, bring it down to the ground, and get your butt in action.
Mhm.
Period. End of
Yeah,
story. Because at the end of the day, succeed or not, it's up to us. No one
100%.
else. Not when I say no one else, others will help us. And the people that do trust us to engage us as coaches or workshop facilitators, you're part of that. But if we aren't doing the core heavy lifting, if we're not carrying our end of the couch like Bill Burr likes to say, then
Yeah.
it's it's not going to yield the results we want. So I'm
Well, there's
excited about carrying my end of the couch.
well, oh man, I can't remember. Joey Diaz, I think, is the comedian's name. But he's got this great clip where he's just like, you don't need a whole posse. You need like two or three good motherfuckers in your life, right? You got to have, with that, you could rule the world. And it's true. It's just like, who are you willing to get in there, get in the muck with, help move the couch of your life, of your goal, pick it up. And yeah, it's just like you need to be in it.
Yeah.
End of story.
And part of this show, what I love about it is that this is a vehicle we use to be transparent, to be accountable, right? Um, by explaining the process, explaining when we, when we had to, when we decided to put things on hold, why we did, what we were going through, the process that we were going through. So, for me, I use this tool as a way of not just talking transparency, not just talking accountability. We're going to share with you where we are, and then hopefully you will see that what we're saying measures up with the action. Right.
Yeah.
This is why a quote that I created that I posted. I think it was last week. True intentions are only honorable until the words spoken are matched with your ethics or something like that, right? Because we talk ethics. Ethics is another thing. Those are great words that like an intention, but without the actual practice of it, it means nothing. And this is why people scoured the words like ethics. Well, I see how people practice it. The ethics is still good, but is the practice the problem?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Resiliency. These are words to me like intention, but you have to be resilient. You actually have to actually do something.
Yeah.
So you have to be willing to do something, not just think, not
You
just
gotta,
daydream. Daydreaming is a powerful tune, but if you're just daydreaming, you're just sleeping.
well, it goes back to that where we were talking about the hard work within the actions. You can find that 50% of like where it's hard, where it's not. It's like, what's the right mix of daydreaming? Because you're right. Daydreaming, thinking, having ambitiously unbound dreams is important for you to be able to kind of like surf
Mhm.
that back and go, what is it out of all of this that I'd like to commit myself to? Who can I become in that pursuit of being the person I trust the most towards that worthy goal?
Yeah.
Because I'm worthy of finding out who that person is. And I'm
And
going to do that.
yeah. And I'm sure you had this experience. A lot of times it's not the actual goal. It's the process of getting to the goal
Oh
that
yeah,
makes it
it's
worthwhile. Um,
yeah,
and that's where the heavy lifting and the rolling up the sleeves, that's where all that, the grimy things that people don't like, that's where those things happen. But each action leads to another, right? choice, consequence, and consequence is just an end result to a choice. If you don't like the consequences, oh, I have to then change the choice. If I don't like the consequences, oh, then I have to change the practice, the implementation. How do I do that? Well, let's go back and look at our goals. Let's go back and look at what we wrote down, that what our plan is. Is our plan still a solid plan? Is the idea still a solid idea? If those things are still true, then what must you change? Right? Because you can just change your output, but that's just one component. So it really gives you a chance, like I said, when you're present, it gives you a chance to use all your skills, your feelings, your emotions, but your logic, your reason, your experience, your training. Do I need maybe more education? It gives you an opportunity to really look at things objectively from a 360 standpoint, as opposed to, well, this isn't working because the work sucks and it's too hard.
Yeah.
That to me, that's too easy. And if you're truly serious about yourself, you would want to go deeper than, oh, it's just too hard. Why is it too hard? What is it about it that's too hard? Because if you think it's not going to be hard, building a house is not easy at all. I know I have friends that build houses, that love building houses, love it. But they would probably tell you 60% of the work sucks. But they love the work. They love the end result. They love the process.
They love being in the pursuit of that end result, right? And I hear you talking about
struggle. They love the struggle. So if you can embrace the struggle, you've got something going on. Sorry,
and here's the pattern that Rawle's talking about. It's like action, consequences, or results, whatever word works for you. Actions, results, debrief, go again. Action, results, debrief. And that's that pattern that Rawle was just sharing here. Is how do you get into it? How do you determine, what was this thing that I learned through the action onto the results? What did I learn? What am I going to stop doing? What am I going to start doing? Most importantly, what am I going to continue doing?
Yeah.
And getting right with that. Because as the example of the building the house, if 60% of that is like, oh, man, this is not work I look forward to, but it's important work to do. Okay, well, I'm going to continue doing that, or else this whole house falls apart. How am I going to get right with it? Oh, because this is on the journey to get to do the parts that I like. Great. Okay, I'll get up, I'll swing the hammers. We're going to go build this thing.
Yeah.
Knowing I get to do, after this part's done, I get to go do the treat piece.
Yeah.
And that's maybe that's a section that I used to use to hack my own habits back in the day. Was like, oh, I knew what pieces of the work, here's all the things that had to be done. Here's the stuff that I didn't like doing. I front loaded it and then immediately had something that I liked doing that moved it forward right after it. It was like a reward. It was like a little treat. It's just like, yes, I get to do this part now. Whoo! It makes it easier to step in and to lean into doing that first piece.
Yeah. And to add to that, a lot of times, particularly when people are creating things from their passion or their purpose, and what's that old saying? If you're really doing the things that you're passionate about, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah,
that's a lie.
That's bullshit.
That's bullshit. You will work probably even harder
because you do enjoy it.
Because you do enjoy it. Because you do love it. So ultimately, this show is about not just making your intentions into a verb. It is that, but it's about embrace the work, embrace it. Especially if you say it is something that you're passionate about, it's your purpose, whatever word you want to use. My purpose is not being a poet, it's not even being a coach. My purpose is just to live life really well. In that structure, I want to identify things that I do feel passionate about, that I could pursue. But it's going to involve work, heavy lifting, right? I'm sure I used to use that saying. I don't anymore because it's nonsense. You are going to work, and you're probably going to work even harder than you ever did.
Yeah.
Ever did. When I came to Kelowna, I found my purpose, my passion, whatever you want to use. That's how I used to think. I never worked as hard as I did as when I lived in Kelowna. because I really enjoyed what I was doing. And yeah, there was days it sucked. But man, I loved what I was doing, so I embraced it. And if you can embrace the struggle, because that's what makes it worthwhile. It shows you what you're made of. It will test your intestinal fortitude, your character, your will. How badly do you want what you say what you want? Look at our friend Ryan Lancaster and the success that he's having now with his business venture.
Yeah.
That didn't just come about from him sitting around doing nothing.
Well, and our boy Ryan just hit like on Facebook, by the way. So hey,
did
Ryan,
he?
thanks
Ryan,
for watching. So
Mr. Lancaster. But yeah, I look at him and his success. That came from a lot of hard work.
Oh, and he's still doing a ton of hard work. Like
exactly.
I look up. If you're watching, Ryan, I know I've told you this, but like I look up to you, man. You set these goals. You've got a young family, and you're working your ass off to get to them. Yeah. And I think it's inspirational as fuck. Yeah. Watching somebody who's doing so much to be the business owner that he wants to be the father and provider that he's chosen to be, is like, dude, my hat is off to you and the amount of work that you do. It is not easy.
Yeah.
And there's many people out there like that are willing to put that work in.
Yeah.
I think that maybe that's a section for the next show, as we're kind of getting closer to the end of this one today.
Well, before you get into that, we had once talked about maybe bringing a guest on. Maybe we could, someone like a Ryan, or even like the other person I was thinking of is Shane Austin over at Okanagan Collab, which celebrated, I think, their 10th anniversary not too long ago. But that was a labor of love for Shane. Still is.
Oh, yeah.
Still is.
Yeah.
He worked his butt off on building that community. So, yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep circling the wax.
Where I was going with that is there's going to be somebody out there that maybe wants a goal similar to yours and is willing to put the work in. That's going to be the difference. Yeah. Are you willing to show up Monday through Friday, Sunday through Sunday, and get her done? Because somebody else will. And if that's not your, and if that's not how you want to define your success, that's okay. But get right with your definition and how much you want to put into it. Because what you put into it is exactly what you get out of it.
What you get out of it. It's like a bank account. You can't,
and it does compound.
What's not in there.
No, and it's compound interest. I do believe that there's a magnitude increase as you add more and learn more and do that action results debrief. It's going to speed up, and the value that you get out through all that will increase, and it does start to stack. But are you willing to put those deposits in there on a regular basis towards that goal? And if not, maybe do a little bit of reflection and self-assessment on what does that actually mean, and is that something you want to do? And either way is all right. It's not judgmental, but it is time to have a judgment on what it is and who you want to be.
And if you're struggling with this is where Gene and I invite you to reach out to us.
That's what we do for a living.
What we do. We help people to get past those roadblocks. Yeah. Roadblocks aren't there to keep others out. Roadblocks show up to really highlight to you how badly do you want what you say you want.
Yeah.
How 100%. Badly do you want it? Don't tell me you want it, then you're not willing to work and to embrace the struggle and to push through. It's like, we plant these seeds, and when does the seed grow? It grows in the dark. It goes where no one can see what's really going on. It pushes and it struggles to break through, to break through, to break through. And each level it goes, it's another breakthrough, it's another breakthrough, until it gets to the point where it's almost ready to break through the daylight. And that's when a lot of people tend to quit. Mm-hmm. How badly do you want what you say what you want? And if you're struggling with this, look, to me, having a coach in your life serves you for a purpose. We don't have to be associated for the rest of our lives, but it's always good to have someone that can help you see things in a different perspective. We're not here to fix anything. You're not broken.
Yeah.
But we all can use some clarity in how we look at things. It's sometimes very difficult for us to step out of our worldview and our perspective. Let us help you with that. And if that's an area you're struggling with, we'd be more than willing to sit down and talk and go, how can Peelback help you in overcoming, these things that you struggle with? So, anyway.
Yeah. Well, brother, this was a wonderful conversation today. We're going to wrap up with our coaching tip for the week. So remember, these coaching tips are meant to help prompt you to have some questions, to think and to reflect, and hopefully leave you with a little insight. So when we think of our goals, often it's the intention that first sparks the dream, but it's the action that truly gives it life. Reflect on these prompts. How do you perceive intention in your life? What feelings or thoughts arise when you contemplate your action? Can you find the rhythm where your intentions seamlessly flow into your actions, and vice versa? We invite you to take the leap. Don't just dream the dream, live it. It's time to be the driving force of your own story. That's where we want to leave you today on episode 20 of the Rawle Gene Show. Make sure to smash that like, follow, leave a comment. We're definitely going to be there. And if you want to take us on the road, join us on the podcast on your favorite podcast platform under the Rawle Gene Show. You will find us there, releasing new
Spotify,
episodes.
iTunes, Apple Tune. We don't care.
It's all the tunes. I think it's even
it's
on
all,
Sirius XM
it's
app
all
now
the
too.
tunes.
So
Is it on Looney Tunes though? I'm not a comedian. I just think I'm funny.
I just play one on TV.
Anyway.
All right,
Love
everybody.
you
Thank you again for joining us, and we will see you next week. Oh, one last thing. It's the legal language. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals.